Hi folks, Sean Cordisco back again. Round 11 of the 78th edition of Tata Steel Chess. Round 11 between current world champion from Norway Magnus Carlsen as white and former world women's champion as black Hou-Rd.11. It's a really interesting game, I'll tell you. This Carlsen's a grinder. Anyway, let's get to it. Carlsen is white, Hou-Rd.11 is black. Going to be a Petrov, believe it or not, at this level. You see it once in a while. Knight takes, d4, knight comes back, knight takes, knight takes. I like to d-pawn myself, frankly. A couple of reasons. It gives it a nice tempo for the dark squared bishop to get out. Bishop e7, this is all book anyway. Bishop, knight c6, queen d2. Bishop up, castles, queen d7. Now, according to the computer, that's the last book move. b3 by Carlsen. Interesting move there, though. I know you've got to protect the a2 pawn. I probably would have moved the king, since you're probably going to have to do that eventually anyway. Bishop f6, h3. Just to stop that annoying pin on the f3 knight with the light squared bishop. Castles on the same side. Surprised she didn't go opposite sides. Maybe she's just intimidated by Carlsen. g4, h6 to stop the g-pawn advance. Bishop, king b8. I call that a grandmaster move. Rook d1, rook e8. Okay, it's a game. Got a pretty good position on both sides. I think it's fairly equal. Interesting move here, though. It's also a computer move, which I find fascinating. Now, the second and third choices in the computer are pretty close. They're rook to e2 and king to b1. Carlsen goes king to b2, which is also the computer choice. Right into the pin on the pawn. That really surprised me. a6. Rook e2, queen e7. I've never seen somebody go into a voluntary pin like that on his king. Rook, double up the rooks on the e-file. Queen f8, just to get out of the way. Now he goes knight to d4, which he wanted to do to begin with, I think. Knight takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. Now, I would take with the c-pawn, just so they wouldn't be double. That's just me. Queen takes is just the same. Bishop d7. f4. I'll go through a few moves here. They trade off a few pieces. The bishop takes. Queen b4. Okay, we've got it down. A lot of pieces are off the board. All the knights, two of the bishops, and both sets of rooks. Seems like a real snooze fest. This is classic Carlsen. He gets you in an equal position, and he'll start to slowly grind you. c6. For those of you that didn't notice, there was a mate right here. c6, bishop f1, threatening that pawn. King has to move. g5. Well, he's starting to expand a little bit. Queen e7, g takes, voluntarily busting up the pawns. Queen d4, f6, queen a7. Interesting. Looking for a check. Then if king comes up, bishop can take because the pawn's pinned against the king. Bishop d7, a4, queen over. Queen goes back to g1, changing directions entirely. Now all the black's pieces are on the queen side, helping with the king. Queen e7, queen g6. Seems like a real snooze fest so far, but it's just an interesting game. Bishop d3. You got to remember that if Carlsen wins this game, Doesn't put him out of reach, but pretty close to the rest of the competitors in the tournament. And this is a really, really high rate quality tournament, high rated. Queen to H4. The bishop, and you're slowly going to see him being traded off. We'll go through a few moves here. Queen A5 check, king. Let's go through. They're moving around the pieces. Queen G3, queen. Queen checks. They're slowly maneuvering. Now this was a surprise to me here. That she traded queens. I think your only hope of winning this game. But this is where Carlsen gets you. Now we're on move 44. Queen to C3 for white was a 44th move for white. The only hope of who you find to win this game is keep the queens on the board. So she must have sat there and took a lot of time and analyzed how she would fare in a king-pawn ending, obviously. And they're notorious for being really hard to figure out. It's one of those oxymorons in chess. The least amount of pieces there are on the board, the more precise and more calculating it becomes. She takes. I think that's a mistake. King takes H5. It's easy to miss a pawn move or a series of pawn moves. I think that's what happened to her. So Carlsen's bringing his king around. King C8. Let's go back a couple of moves here. Let's go to here. Right now, it's a 1.5 advantage for white. King B4. King C8. King A5. It's a 3-point advantage right now. 3 points. Tempos are everything in chess, especially in king and pawn endings. And we're going to see what happens. She moves the king up. Carlsen has all the tempos. King B8. Finally gets his king in there. King C8. B4. Carlsen is playing this beautifully. King B8. B5. Pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, king takes. Well, you're thinking, well, he can get right back. The king can just come back and she's okay. King C7, C3. It's over. After king to D7, king to B6, and it's over. Now, even if, say the king comes back, you still go C6. Black has to take, king takes, and now this pawn is doomed, and then this one, and then this one. Very well played, right out, as Fisher used to say, the bare kings. Well done. She just miscalculated. Maybe, as Carl Nakamura calls it, I hallucinated. Anyway, folks, that was a well-fought-out grinder by Magnus Carlsen. Picks up the full point. Hou-Rd.11 was playing fairly well in this tournament, too. A lot of people were impressed with her. There's a couple of games she should have won. There's a loss she should have drew. But anyway, and there it is. Round 11 from the 78th edition of Tata Steel Chess. Hope you enjoyed it. I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.